Hello, hello, Brian Lindstrom.
Hey there, Bree. How are you?
I'm good on my way to work, and I think that things are kind of starting to warm up around here, but it's the Midwest, so I'm not getting my hopes up.
Winters last forever, but it's Groundhog Day, so I think we're supposed to only get 6 weeks less of winter, early spring, so we'll see.
I forgot to see what Punxsutawney Phil did.
Yeah, yeah. And now in Milwaukee, we don't our head or our groundhog died last year, so it's a penguin now.
No, I haven't heard about the Milwaukee Penguin. I'm gonna have to look that up.
So,
Okay, so I've had a couple things on my mind. I'd love to have a conversation about a couple of things. One of the things on my mind, is Nurse Disrupted, is working with health systems and such. We talk about the money. I mean, I also coach nurse leaders to really strengthen their relationships with the CFO because nursing is staffing and the economics of it for a health system is so important. When we're talking to health systems, we need to talk about yes, IT and our solutions and technology and our innovation, and it needs to be balanced out with finances. And with your background as a CFO, and I want to talk about your background in a little bit, what is it that you think is on a hospital system CFO's mind, and why? Like, what would the advantage be for them
yeah.
taking the plunge into an early stage venture backed IT or technology partner?
Well, we start off with a hard one. That's a tough question, right? I mean, I've worked a lot, like you said, with startups, been a CFO, trying to sell into hospitals. And I mean, first of all, it's a small cohort. There's only 6,000 hospitals, depending on how you call or count them in the US to sell into, right? And when you got the opportunity to pitch to some of these hospitals, you really have to make the most of it. Especially now when you look at the metrics. Rock Health had some data. I mean, there's a lot of places to go that hospitals are having record low margins. Most hospitals,
Yeah.
right, make 5% potentially margins, and if you go out into the community or into rural, it's less than that. Academic medical centers tend to be the places that have budget a
Okay.
little bit more than others, but there's no place that's flush with cash, right? So, but from a
Which
CFO
is different when,
perspective,
I mean, you see some of these articles that come out that are like, so and so health system is, rolling in it. And then you hear other articles about, how slim and negative the margins are. That's, the big conversation that we have with people. But, it's interesting what you see in the press sometimes, or the headlines sometimes, when the reality is, and margins, I mean, they're historically low, but you're just saying right now it's really low margins.
it's especially low, right? Coming out of post-pandemic, a lot of elective surgeries were stopped. These types of things that, yes, we're seeing historically low margins there.
Given us kind of historic environment right now with margins, we're still getting these partnerships with hospitals. I mean, Nurse Disrupted, we're focused on so much the nurse retention, which is a direct, tied to the dollar and hospital throughput. We're focused on that. Hospitals are still choosing to partner with startups. And I know you're passionate about this. This is, what you're working towards with HealthX. Speak a little bit about, or could you speak a little bit about why a CFO, what would be the catalyst for them saying, we're going to go the
Right.
startup route over the more mature company route, more the big kind of been there a
Right.
long time dinosaur?
Right, right. So, like I said, we try to help our portfolio companies in any way that we can to sell into the hospitals, right? And of course, there's the ROI. You need to have the ROI. It needs to be clear. The clear that it is line of sight to their bottom line. You know that's what's going to help. And I think also what we're seeing is companies like Nurse Disrupted, as well as others that have a very tangible clinical outcome related to what they do, is those are the companies that we're seeing right now having more success selling into the healthcare systems because like I say, it's line of sight. They can see very specifically for this investment, this is the return that I'm going to get on that very, very quickly. And they can tangibly achieve that within 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. The harder ones are the AI producers or the AI companies in healthcare now, right? That have amazing promise, but that investment's significant, and it's a risk. You just can't see the return right away.
Yeah, Mark and I were talking a couple weeks ago too about the speed by which startups can move, and also demonstrate that return. But I also love the tangible versus, the space for, what maybe could happen. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a big catalyst for me on, why I jumped from big corporate to startup is the speed at which, we can deliver on a solution and really demonstrate ROI. So that's an awesome perspective too.
Yeah. Hey,
I
Bree,
I don't
one thing I'd say too, that another thing, obviously have that tangible ROI is we're seeing companies with that success. But the other thing, and I think Nurse Disrupted does a really nice job of this, is my top tip of the day, or the secret sauce is make your solution easy to buy. I
yes.
see so many not necessarily of our portfolio companies, but companies out there that have the do you want fries with that model. And what I mean by that is that it's hard to buy in terms of the options, all the upsell, all these things that companies think just make them more attractive. We find they actually freeze the sale. And why is that? It's because healthcare systems are just amazingly complex organizations, right? You're not only selling to the CIO, the CMIO, the clinicians, to purchasing, to the CFO. There's so many constituents in a healthcare system. And that when your solution has so many aspects or piece parts to it, anyone along the way can say no. And
Yeah.
the simpler the solution is, the so much easier it is to buy, and increases the velocity of the sale.
Yeah, and I'm hearing it. It's fun. I sit at the elbow of the nurses and the CFOs of the hospital systems. And this one meeting I was at, I mean, the CFO was truly concerned about the wellness and the state of nursing. There had been one nurse manager who was frustrated with nurse staffing, tied it to finance, and it was a good reminder too that hospital CFOs, very much can be passionate about doing right by the organization. And so making a light solution, getting to an easy yes, getting to an ROI, and I think also, understanding that, we're not we're not just working with bean counters. People are, our CFOs are very passionate about the wellness of the health systems that they're working for. So, and
Certainly.
that's something that, it's been so great working with you. I mean, your passion for our company and for the other portfolio companies and for healthcare. I don't know how many people have heard your story. And I mean, talk to me about, the CFO world, a little bit about, I know, some of your background because we both came from Epic, but at different times,
Yep.
tell me a little bit about, your CFO journey and then how you got to being part of the HealthX company.
Sure. So yeah, I started like a lot of finance people, accounting undergrad, and didn't like it. Didn't like doing accounting professionally and public accounting. So shortly thereafter, went into technology at Intel. So this was in the mid 90s. I know I'm dating myself, but back then Intel was on the leading edge, and technology got in my blood. And so that was hardware for a while, and I did it and loved it, and knew that I wanted to stay in technology forever. But um, a couple jumps after that, landed at this small Madison healthcare tech company called Epic, and worked very closely with Judy Faulkner and a lot of the current leadership there. And just it got in my blood. The mission, the passion that I see people have, around just the subject matter, doing good, all of those types of things. And so for the rest of my career, nearly the rest of my career, I've been as a CFO or a senior finance person in healthcare tech related organizations. And now, I'm an operating partner with HealthX, and my goal is to help people like you, Bree, and other portfolio companies, whether in or outside of HealthX, actually, to just it's just energizing to me. I'm just not as creative as others in terms of starting a business, and that's just not me. But I love to work with others who are really mission oriented, who are driven, who really know what they want to do, and then through what I can do, finance, help support them in their mission.
Well, I love it. You are just amazing, amazing to work with, and it's so good to catch up. I'll come and find you at Main Street Depot here one of these days.
All right, very good, Bree. See ya.